Alright, what is going on, guys? I just wanted to make a quick video on today's trade that I took. It was a losing trade, but these are the best trades to kind of actually get the most information from. Okay, so just to start it off, going into market open, we opened here, right about here. This candle. This is a 4-minute. Okay, let's go to the 1-minute. This is our opening candle. Okay, ES actually came down and swept these lows. We had a bullish SMT. And then we were gunning for these equal highs here on the 5-minute. These are 5-minute equal highs. Okay. And obviously everything was looking very, very bullish. I didn't look for shorts at all because I knew that we were just creating a 15-minute as well. So this was the 15-minute. And then we were kind of chopping around for a little bit, and we didn't take these highs. We were creating a higher high, higher low, lower high, and then another higher low. And I was really just looking for a manipulation into this 15-minute to take us back to these equal highs, because this is really the perfect trade setup that I'm looking for in terms of a continuation. Right, we have good manipulation, so we swept out this low. We were in a 15-minute, and then we start to reverse back up because we also have low resistance liquidity up here as well, and then the high. So this is a great draw, and this is great manipulation. So immediately I was like, okay, what can I take to enter this trade and try and take advantage of this move? Because this is a classic continuation pattern. I actually rated this A plus because we have that liquidity sweep. We have a high time frame inefficiency, which is the 15-minute. We also have displacement through this 4-minute inversion. And then we also have clear draws with the high time frame context aligning with it. So that was A plus for me. We didn't have any bullish SMTs as far as I know, but regardless, you don't need the SMT. This had everything I'm looking for in terms of continuation. And then the only issue is really once you look at ES, ES was battling a 5-minute. We also created equal lows. So that in itself is definitely something to be aware of, right? When you're entering a trade and then you have a strong draw at your stop loss, it's definitely something you should be concerned about. And once this 4-minute closed, I impulsively entered. Okay, I entered there. What I did is I waited for this. I saw that we were closing this 1-minute, and I saw that we closed it, but I was so confident that we were going to go for these highs that I just entered here, and I wanted to target that high. Set my stop loss right there. So the things that should have triggered me was like, okay, we have a bearish inversion on the 1-minute, essentially invalidating my trade, and unfortunately, the 5-minute on ES never closed. This is where it closed. Okay, so I thought that this did close and inverse it, but it never did. It was literally the same tick. So that sucks. Even if it did close, that would have given me a lot more confirmation. But that was kind of the thing that should have told me and, came out to me as a light bulb. Okay, maybe don't enter this if the 5-minute is struggling to close that. However, I was just so confident in the longs here because of the draw and the manipulation and the clean 4-minute inversion that I just entered regardless of the 5-minute failing to inverse and this 1-minute inversing. So I entered. And then I honestly set my break-even point right here. And the issue is that it just completely dumped. Okay, so I got stopped out right there. And then we just kind of kept going lower from there. So not necessarily my draw was wrong because we came all the way down to this level here and then went back up to this equal high. So this was the draw. However, I just kind of entered this based off of the 4-minute inversion and I didn't really apply ES context. If I did, and I truly did apply that, then I would have been able to avoid this loss. Another thing that should have stuck out to me is we did just break structure on the 5-minute and the 4-minute. That wouldn't have given me enough confirmation to short necessarily, but it should have kind of bounced out to me like maybe we're not gunning for that high right now. Okay. So I saw a lot of people did take this. I was actually surprised a lot of people took this. Yes, this is kind of a pattern trade, but this is the trade that I'm looking for regardless, right? So if this comes up tomorrow, I'm going to take this. Obviously, I'm going to learn my lesson and really wait for ES to show me a lot of confirmation in these choppy markets. But regardless, this is a good trade. The 1 minute invalidated it, so I shouldn't have entered. And there was a couple signs, like I said, that were cleared. Maybe fade this setup. But overall, when you're looking at it from the 4 minute, the manipulation, the draw, this is what I'm looking for. So sometimes you do have to take a stab on these for probability, but there are signs that can show you like this may not work out right now. So just take a seat. And the biggest thing is just the markets are so choppy, right? If the markets weren't as choppy as they are right now, I do think that this would have went up. Trump also started speaking as well, and I'm not going to blame the market for this at all because at the end of the day, your analysis should have indicated that this is something you might want to fade due to the 5 minute failing to inverse and this 1 minute. But other than those two things, this is a very good trade. So I'm not going to beat myself up over it because I would take this pretty much 9 out of 10 times. It's a really clean continuation with a very strong draw. And I'm not mad about it. It was a loss, so that sucks in itself, but my confidence isn't tied to green or red P&L. It's tied to how well I can execute. And I executed here because I was confident in the draw, and it ended up being on the losing side of probability, but that's okay. That happens. The whole thing about trading is preventing yourself from making bad decisions. That's how you get consistency, right? You don't, you know, just because you have a few losses doesn't necessarily make you an unprofitable or a really stupid trader. It's just how you deal with those losses. Okay, so I have about 3 losses right now. This is my journal for the month of July, and I haven't won once this month. Not a single time. And sure, that does kind of piss me off because everybody wants wins, right? Everybody wants to, start feeling like they're making progress rather than losing. But trading is a game where, you can go into the day and lose money, right? And still do everything right. Not to say that I did everything right, but I did execute to the best of my ability. I'm confident in my ability to execute. So I'm not going to hang up on a few losses, right? Because you just have to let probability play out. Markets have been choppy, so it's been unfortunate. I should have stayed out a few of these losses, but it is what it is. And as long as you just take one loss, then it's not a big deal. You see, today was actually a $900 loss, and that's because my account was basically going to get blown. So I just put, I basically just full ported the last little bit of my account once I lost that first trade because I wanted to get another account anyway. Anyway, so that is the trade of the day. I wouldn't beat yourself up over this loss. It's not that big of a deal. I think it's a good trade. When you look at it, like I said over and over again, there's a few reasons why you maybe shouldn't have taken this trade, and that's just why I'm making this video to kind of help you guys look at the market in a different way and analyze this trade so you can actually make better decisions going forward. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to go into the markets tomorrow. I will be live streaming going forward. I'm going to be live streaming basically every day while I trade. So you can pretty much trade with me. We can trade together. I can listen to your guys' opinions. You guys can listen to mine. And overall, I think that I'm trying to build a strong community here where we're all just trying to make money. Full transparency. Obviously, there's losses. I want to show the losses. I want to show how I'm learning and going through that process because, eventually I will be someone who's making a lot of money from this. And it's really just about becoming the type of person that you want to be, that you need to become in order to be profitable, right? Because the type of person who's blowing evals and making all these emotional decisions and gets, fed up and frustrated after a loss, that type of person literally cannot be profitable. They just won't be able to handle the money that they have when they get it, right? If you have 5 accounts, you're close to a payout, you lose for some reason, and then you just crash out, then you're not going to make money, right, long term. That's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable behavior. So I'm just gonna end this video now, and like in the comments, like, comment, let me know what you guys thought about this trade. If you did this, if you did take this trade, and yeah, tune in tomorrow on my Kick live stream for live day trading at 9:30.